Peoples, top of the morning. It is Wednesday, January 3rd, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports UN officials in Gaza condemns Israeli attack that killed a baby in hospital. No child in the world should be killed, let alone one sheltering under the emblem of a humanitarian organization, says Gemma Cornell, the Gaza team leader from the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. She has condemned an Israeli attack on Khan Yunis, which killed 5 people, including a newborn baby, who was sheltering at an El Amma city hospital run by the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. Okay, so I'm gonna play this video for you guys. It's less than a minute long, so just bear with me. But once again, always to give you guys some context about the situation that's going on. So I'm here at Al Amal Hospital. It's a Palestinian Red Crescent Society facility, clearly marked with the Red Crescent emblem on the roof. And just 2 hours ago, you can see behind me and all around me, this area was hit. 5 people were killed here, including a 5-day-old child. No child in the world should be killed, let alone one sheltering under the emblem of a humanitarian organization. This war has to end. And so, as you can clearly see, this humanitarian organization was hit with an Israeli airstrike. Now, this is, once again, you know, I classify this as Israeli war tactics. But once again, this is a very disgraceful, pathetic situation. And I don't see how you, as a individual in the military or an individual that's a part of that society, I don't see how you think you stand on the right side of history by conducting yourself this way. Here's a point that I would like to add. If the United States of America and its Western allies can not only condemn organizations like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthi rebels, if they can condemn organizations such as this and deem them terrorist organizations, for what many of us know very well is just these people resisting occupation. But if you can very well deem these organizations, these freedom fighters, as terrorist organizations, then myself and anyone in society that feels that they are connected to the human race can classify Israel as a terrorist state. We can classify the Israeli army as a terrorist organization. Why can we not? In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Israel promises to fight South Africa genocide accusations at ICJ. South Africa launched case against Israel, saying the magnitude of death and destruction in Gaza meets the threshold of the 1948 Genocide Convention. Israel will appear before the International Court of Justice in The Hague to contest South Africa's accusation that it is committing genocide against Palestinians in its war with Hamas, an Israeli government spokesperson says. And so, what do I think about this? Well, not only am I proud of South Africa for even attempting to do such a thing. You understand? Because it's the right thing to do. This state Israel, this occupying state, this occupying regime has committed genocide. They are committing war crimes. And so the West and its allies, if they will not condemn Israel for its actions, then the rest of the world will. The rest of the world is standing up and letting you know that not only do we not agree, but we condemn them for what they're doing. And so to witness something like this where South Africa has brought charges against Israel, I think is commendable. I think it's honorable. And so in this moment, you know, you have to pick which side you want to be on, which side of history you want to be on. Because we will all reflect back on this time, and we all will reflect on the actions of certain countries, of certain regimes, and we will hold them accountable. So I switched over to the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. This is a post made by the Young Turks. Biden administration sidesteps Congress again for emergency arms sale to Israel. So now, you know, Biden and Congress, obviously, they do not get along. They're not on the same page. So Biden does what he does best. He goes around Congress and ensures an arms deal, an emergency arms deal for Israel. Now, the funny thing about this situation, and it's actually not funny at all, but what I find interesting about this situation is that the pounds of the munitions that are being used on the Gaza Strip, it was brought to my attention that they're using 2,000 pound bombs, and that the United States had advised them to use lower munitions. But that's like an oxymoron if you turn around and then sell them more 2,000 pound bombs. So it's like, on one hand, you're telling them to be strategic in how they use the weaponry that you're providing to them. But nonetheless, you are still providing the weaponry that is causing the most death and destruction in Palestine and the Gaza Strip. You know, staying on the X platform for a second, I'm on a site called Breaking Points, but they reposted something from Unusual Wells. The post reads, Breaking. I have just released the full report on politicians trading in 2023. Like every year since 2020, US politicians beat the market, and many in Congress made unusual time trades, resulting in huge gains. Here are the top performers of 2023. And so I find this very interesting because I put a video out some weeks back about members of Congress making investments into defense contractors. And so I seen it as something that was very, very interesting, because I'm like, well, how do they get to do this? How do they get to foresee that a conflict is about to happen, and then they get to go invest into these companies and they get to have humongous gains, astronomical gains? And then I took the example of Martha Stewart, who all she did was receive some information about the fact that she was going to lose money, and she moved her money, and you imprisoned her for that very thing. But who imprisons you? For timing the market, very well knowing that there's a conflict brewing, and then you go invest into defense contractors because you are pushing that conflict forward. This is disgusting. This is despicable. This is appalling. Another example of the rich getting rich, and you know the rest. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Ukrainian missiles target Russian border regions in retaliatory strikes. Recent escalation sees both sides deploying urban warfare tactics as renewed fighting erupts to the east in Bakhmut. Ukraine has launched air attacks on regions in Russia and occupied East Ukraine as the recent escalation of the war between the two countries continue. Russian officials reported on Wednesday that Ukrainian missiles targeted Belgorod and Kerch in southern Russia, as well as the Crimean Peninsula, annexed in 2014, and the latest in a series of deadly tit-for-tat attacks that began last week and have killed dozens of civilians. So what do I think about this? Well, it's what I've been saying. Russia is absolutely destroying Ukraine. They just did airstrikes on Ukraine, and the I believe in Kiev, and it's been labeled as one of the most deadliest airstrikes since the war began. And Vladimir Putin he's already announced that he's going to be intensifying. And so it's like I said before, this is a proxy war that the United States encouraged Ukraine to enter, very well knowing that Ukraine was going to lose. But all because you want to try out new weapon systems, you want to try out new artificial intelligence programs, all because you want to do these things off of technology that you have created in the United States of America for the military industrial complex, but you have no conflict. So what better way to see if these things work than to lend them in support or aid to a country that's already in a conflict? And now that country is being devastated, they're being destroyed. And ultimately, all you'll do is back out of the conflict. You'll stop providing aid. And then you'll force said country to broker a deal. And this should be like a textbook for the West and its allies. So I'm pretty sure that on the world stage, this is nothing new. This is actually, you know, something of normality when it comes to the United States of America and these geopolitical events. For those of you that have been looking for me and for whatever reason you haven't been able to find me, this is the YouTube page. It's a Street Icon TV, at Street Icon 8080, at Street Icon 8080. So you can put that in the search bar, Street Icon 8080, and the page will pop right up. You'll see my logo. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. Did you know about these stories? How do they make you feel? Drop a comment in the comment section, and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.